What's up guys, Julian Goldie here, and did you know that 53% of all website traffic comes from organic search? For some people, a stat like that is enough to convince them that SEO is worth their time. However, you may not be convinced, and that's perfectly reasonable. After all, people might throw around lots of stats like that, but is SEO really all it's cracked up to be? Well, today we're going to have a good look at why you should invest in and improve your website's SEO. Whether you're in an old industry, a new one, an obscure one, there's a good chance these reasons apply to you. And once you finish the video, you'll be an all-out SEO convert, and you might just be ready to write an apology letter to all of the SEO people you've ignored in the past. Just kidding. But before we jump in, please smash a like on this video. I heard it's the best way to get more SEO traffic. So reason number one is that it brings in targeted traffic. No matter what you want to sell online, you're going to need traffic. After all, you might have the best product in the world, but if nobody actually sees it, you're not going to get very far. This kind of thinking actually applies to brick and mortar businesses too. You might have an amazing store, but if it's in the middle of nowhere, you might not do that well. However, if you have a storefront on the busiest street in your city or town, it's going to be a lot easier to get people into your store. Now, at this point, you're probably thinking, okay, so how can I get lots of people to visit my website? This is a perfectly reasonable thing to think about, but it's generally the wrong way to go about things. And let me tell you why. First of all, that's because when it comes to driving traffic, the main name of the game is driving targeted traffic. So the more targeted visitors, the more relevant visitors you can drive to your site, the more revenue you will likely generate. After all, if you're selling a fishing rod, there's no point driving 1,000 visitors to your site that have no interest at all in fishing. I mean, sure, some people might buy a fishing rod from you for the hell of it, but you can't really rely on this kind of approach. And one of the amazing things about SEO is that it can actually help you drive targeted traffic, relevant visitors ready to buy, potential customers, okay? So in fact, when compared to other traffic sources, SEO traffic is right up there when it comes to driving targeted traffic that will convert into sales. So much so that one survey found 70% of people said that SEO is better than PPC at driving sales. And one of the main reasons for this is that SEO gives you the ability to reach people when they're just about ready to buy a product or service from someone in your niche. After all, people who are actively looking to buy something will use certain kinds of keywords when they're searching on Google. For instance, if we take the fishing rod example from before, a person that's interested in buying a fishing rod might type in something like buy a fishing rod or best fishing rod 2022. If you know how to identify and then rank for these keywords, which is something we can actually help you with, you'll be putting yourself right in front of those people. Assuming you have justifiable prices and a decent looking site, you should end up converting a lot of these customers into actual sales. Now, reason number two is that the traffic from SEO doesn't cost that much. Another great thing about SEO is that it can actually be one of the most cost-effective and highest margin ways to drive traffic to your site. I mean, if the traffic that's coming to your site is free, then all of a sudden your profit margins are way higher. This is especially the case when you consider how much SEO might cost compared to paid traffic. For instance, let's suppose that the best AdWords PPC keyword in your niche costs around $10 a click. If you're going to create a campaign around this keyword, you'll have to pay $10 each time someone clicks on your ad. What's more, there's actually no guarantee that any of these people are actually going to buy something from you once they've landed on your ad. If you invest in SEO and you do a good job, you should be able to rank on the first page and maybe even in the top 3 listings, so that when someone clicks on your listings, you won't have to pay any money, but you'll get sales for free and you'll save $10 for every click that you get. It's because of this that SEO is often considered to be a really cost-effective source of traffic. Plus, it's also worth noting that one study found 70 to 80% of people actually ignore ads. Therefore, even if you do focus on ads, they can still underperform compared to SEO. Reason number 3 is to diversify your traffic. One of the most dangerous things you can do when it comes to online marketing is rely on a single source of traffic. To help explain why this is the case, let's take the brick and mortar example from before, right? Imagine you have a storefront on a really busy street, which sounds amazing. Lots of people will see your store, and so lots of people will be visiting your store and buying from you. However, what if one day the landlord or local authorities decide they don't want your store to be there anymore? Suddenly your store comes to a halt, your business no longer has visitors, and you can no longer generate any transactions. Your business has essentially no longer got any visibility. And to a certain extent, people don't even know it exists anymore. So how would you protect your brick and mortar business from a situation like this? Well, one way you might protect yourself from this is by having lots of storefronts all around the world. Now, sure, these storefronts might not all perform equally, and some might do better than others. But that doesn't matter too much, because the important thing is if one store closes down, you're not going to be in much trouble. Having multiple traffic sources is a lot like having multiple storefronts on multiple streets. If one traffic source stops, then your business will still be visible in other parts of the internet and you'll still be able to make money online. There are countless stories of people that have seen their business literally fall off a cliff overnight just because their traffic source that they were relying on previously decided to change the rules of the game. For example, with Facebook ads or getting your ads account banned. Now, if you're worried about this happening to you, SEO can be a great way to diversify your traffic sources. After all, if you're generating traffic from both PPC and SEO, your business will still have a decent online presence if PPC is no longer a viable route. Of course, there are stories of SEO algorithms and Google slaps hitting people badly too. But again, the main point here is that you need to make sure you diversify your traffic sources. SEO is just one way you can do that, and there are many other traffic sources you can focus on too. But considering all of the benefits that come with SEO, it's one of the best traffic sources to focus on if you're not already using it as your main source of traffic. Now, if you want to grow your site, SEO is such a powerful way to do that. Reason number 4 is that SEO can improve your credibility. And finally, why is this? Because it's a great way to improve the credibility and authority you have within your niche. For example, if someone needs help with something that is associated with your industry, they will more likely turn to Google to learn more. For instance, suppose someone wants to get into fishing and they need to buy fishing gear. In a situation like this, they might use Google to find out exactly what they will need. This makes sense when you consider that 53% of people use search engines to do product research. If your website pops up when people are searching for this advice, your business will seem all of a sudden much more credible and authoritative. Following this, people might feel better about buying from you when they're ready to actually make a purchase. So, we've covered 4 major reasons here that highlight why you should focus on SEO. If you need a little more convincing, you may want to check out some of the case studies and results that we've delivered for our clients. You can see those at juliangoldie.com. And if you are convinced and you want to learn more about how you should approach SEO, or even what a good SEO strategy might look like in your niche, consider reaching out to us. No matter what niche you're in, we will be able to help you figure out how SEO can grow your business. And you can book in a free strategy session at juliangoldie.com. Thanks for watching. See you on the other side.